An operation targeting Houthi militants in Yemen was watched by the whole world. In raids on rebel bases that lasted more than a week, the Americans eliminated top leaders of what is considered a terrorist organization. As it turns out, however, top politicians in Donald Trump's administration had a lot of doubts about whether they should intervene at all. The matter came to light through human error, as analysts put it, and adding a journalist to a closed group in one of the instant messengers, who was following the exchanges between politicians.
It's a robust conversation. It's actually pretty impressive in some ways. They're going back and forth. A lot of resentment directed at European allies of the United States, which obviously enhanced the credibility of this chain, because everybody in the chain sounded like the people I know who are in this administration. Nevertheless, it wasn't until Saturday that I was reasonably certain that this wasn't a hoax.
A brawl has erupted in the United States over the excerpt of the conversation that was made public. It is mainly about the very fact of discussing such plans using an internet instant messenger. According to experts, however, this one is extremely secure, and the leak occurred through an error, not a security breach.
With any of these public systems, of course, there's huge efforts to make them as secure as possible, and Signal stands out as one that is working extremely hard with end-to-end encryption and other measures it takes to ensure that any messages sent over its network are secure.
This situation will certainly serve as a warning, not only to the U.S. political scene. On the other hand, through the error, the world has gained a glimpse behind the scenes of American foreign policy. From excerpts of the conversation, an interesting picture emerges of what Washington may or may not do. Whether it's now or several weeks from now, it will have to be the United States that reopens these shipping lanes. Per the president's request, we are working with the Department of Defense and State to determine how to compile the cost associated and levy them on the Europeans. If you think we should do it, let's go. I just hate bailing Europe out again. I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic. But Mike is correct. We are the only ones on the planet, on our side of the ledger, who can do this. Nobody else is even close. The question is timing. I feel like now is as good a time as any, given the POTUS directive to reopen shipping lanes. The disclosure of this conversation could cost the security advisor his job. According to commentators, however, it is clear that contrary to critics, the United States continues to play its role as guardian of world order. But when it comes to paying the cost, the United States wants something in return. Because of the need for power projection and for the foundation of U.S. policy, that is, free trade on the seas, the new administration, unlike Biden, is able to respond very quickly to threats to free trade on the seas, regardless of the fact that right there, American direct interests are not so important. Houthi rebels have been attacking merchant ships in the Red Sea for several years. The U.S. share of this sea route, according to Washington, is a mere 4%, compared to 40% for Europe. Today, the Americans have a presence in virtually every conflict-ridden region of the world, from the Korean Peninsula, Taiwan, the Middle East, Africa, to Europe, especially NATO's eastern flank. And while in diplomacy, the U.S. increasingly talks about the small cost-effectiveness of support without tangible benefits, in reality, the U.S. is still the only real force capable of acting in every corner of the world in the name of security and the global balance of power.